So good, so good, so good.
New fall arrivals are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Get ready to save big with up to 60% off Vince, Kurt Geiger London, and more.
How did I not know Rack has Adidas?
Because there's always something new.
Join the Nordy Club at Nordstrom Rack to unlock exclusive discounts on your favorite brands. Shop new arrivals first and more. Plus, get an extra 5% off every Rack purchase with a Nordstrom credit card. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Optimal Work Daily, The Problem with Tell Your Story by Margo Aaron of ThatSeemsImportant.com. When we read Crime and Punishment in college, my professor spent a full month on the significance of the confession. Not Raskolnikov's, because I don't want to tell you if he confesses or not if you haven't read it, but the act of confession itself, like saying the truth out loud. Apparently, St. Augustine was big on this, and so we talked about him and Catholicism for a while too. But the crux was this. When you speak something out loud, you're absolved of its power over you. The Christians were onto something here. The woo-woo spiritual folks like this trope too, but their version is, your darkness can't survive the light, or some reference to a shadow self. The psych literature has some nice data to support this claim as well. When you hide stuff inside, it tends to bite you in the ass in other ways. So there's something visceral about our need to say things about ourselves out loud. It cleanses us, absolves us. We can move on, make peace. It's why advice like tell your story is so powerful. We whip it out everywhere. The solution to all your problems? Just tell your story. Speak, tell the truth, tell your story. I don't know about y'all, but I've been looking for an excuse to talk about myself since I was 2. And now you're telling me it can absolve me from suffering? Sign me up. But there's one tiny problem with this advice. The for part. It's great advice for making progress in therapy, for overcoming trauma and abuse, for finding happiness, for fixing your marriage, for ending your marriage, for managing anxiety and perfectionism. Great advice for personal development. Not great advice for writing or starting businesses. Which is how most of us have come across this advice. Just tell the truth, tell your story, and the money will come. Don't do that. Do not, I repeat, do not do that. St. Augustine was right about confession leading to absolution. But confession does not lead to cash. It leads you to being kind of a schmuck, because when you do it for the wrong reasons, it doesn't really work. Like this headline, Why I Almost Shut Down My $500K a Month Company. That's a real headline from a piece I read about a founder who discovers he made a product. He realizes his marketing is great, so he keeps making money. But then customers discover his product is terrible, and now he's writing a piece seeking absolution for his crime. But he's not actually seeking absolution. He's seeking sales. He wants the piece to go viral so he can sell you more of the product he just told you was terrible. This is what is commonly referred to in online business circles as failure. Failure is when someone is using their alleged pain and suffering as a tool for sales, likes, and shares. It's often confused with its younger cousin, sincere vulnerability. Sincere vulnerability has almost nothing in common with failure except that they both look a bit like disclosure. Disclosure is telling people stuff that is private. When you do it the appropriate way, it's brave and difficult. Like when you find out your best friend has been cheated on, so you share that you've also been cheated on. But not in the way where you make it about you. That's not brave. You do it in a way that conveys, I know how you feel. It sucks. I'm here for you. That's brave. Disclosure is when you share something private. And it's vulnerability when you do it appropriately. It's failure when you do it indiscriminately for sales, likes, and attention. The content marketing world has blended the personal and professional, leading to some confusion on this point. So I'd like to clear this up. The reason a confession does not lead to cash is because it's not a business technique, it's a tool for personal growth. If you would like to be better at business, build something people want. If you would like to absolve yourself of suffering, tell someone who's earned the right to hear it. Now, unless you've done a lot of self-work, I doubt you're telling your story appropriately. Which brings me back to our failure bro making $500K a month delivering terrible service. Using his failure as a learning opportunity is not a bad idea. This guy's piece fails because he left out the only good part of the story, his fear. Sure, yes, he's uncertain if he can make payroll and he's worried he can't manage the business. That's surface-level fear, a cover for his real fear. Good rule of thumb is if your fear is socially acceptable, it's probably not your real fear. His real fear is, what will people think when they discover I'm a fraud? That would have been a great piece to read. Instead, he leads us to the mundane conclusion that, I kid you not, he actually wrote this, you need a product that works, not just great marketing. I'm just going to let that one stand on its own because I just can't right now with this, and skip to what I want to talk about. That was not his lesson. His lesson was, quote, I know I'm perpetuating a fraud. I feel ashamed of this, but that shame wasn't enough to stop me. End quote. Now, there's a story we want to read. If you're going to share your story, ask yourself why and answer honestly. And I'll save you some time because here's the only good reason to share your story publicly with people. To support your bigger point. You gotta have a bigger point. Or to quote Stephen Pressfield, what is this story about? We gotta have a point. What was the point? Tell us the point of the story. When you share your story, if you choose to share it, there must be a reason. Sharing your personal story is a technique, not an end. Love Warrior wasn't a memoir. Forward wasn't a memoir. Born a Crime wasn't a memoir. Educated wasn't a memoir. They're books about something much bigger than themselves. They're using their personal stories as a tool, a vehicle through which to communicate a much bigger point. That's how you tell your story, and that's why you share your story in public. Use your story as a means of connecting what's in your head to what's in my head. It's not for absolution. It's for connection. To connect. That's it. You just listened to the post titled The Problem with Tell Your Story by Margo Aaron of thatseemsimportant.com.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
Routine. Adjective. Used to describe an individual whose spirit is unyielding, unconstrained, one who navigates life on their own terms, effortlessly. They do not always show up on time, but when they arrive, you notice. An individual confident in their contradictions. They know the rules, but behave as if they do not exist. Routine. The new fragrance by Miu Miu. Defined by you.
And a big thanks to Margo for letting us share this post today. In her quest to answer the question, how do you get people to care, and not finding the answers in her job, Margo set about learning all that she could about persuasion, influence, direct response, copywriting, branding, and more, and eventually started her own business. But while she was making money, she still wasn't getting people to care. So she started writing about her experiences and eventually gained quite a following. Today, Margo is the co-host of the popular internet talk show Hillary and Margo Yell at Websites, and her own website, That Seems Important, was named one of the top 100 websites for writers. So come check it out. You can find it at thatseemsimportant.com, and I do have that linked in this episode's description. Okay, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being here today and every day, and I will be back again with you tomorrow as usual, where your optimal life awaits.